Welcome to Second Saturday, your monthly TV show produced at Brick Arts in downtown Brooklyn. My name is Professor Alfonso Siverls. Second Saturday explores those topics and unique personal experiences that enhance our understanding of the world, its history, current events, and our connections to each other's as global citizens. Today's show is a continuation from our last show with my very special guest, Miss Felicia Day Cornegay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We left off last time when you were telling us about your experiences at NYU and you did the study abroad in Ghana. And that was a 6-month study abroad.
Yes,
Okay.
just about 6 months.
Let's pick up from there. So, you come back to New York, you graduate from NYU. What next?
Well, I graduated with my BS in communications
Right.
and was still very set on doing working in media. That was really what I wanted to be Oprah. And I figured out at some point that that wasn't really where I needed to be. And so I had heard about the New School, which is where I eventually
Did the
went.
experience in Ghana affect that decision?
Yes and no. While I was there, I had learned a lot about the media landscape in Ghana and how that works. And one of my mentors there, Audrey Godzekpo, is kind of like Ghana's Oprah, where she has like a magazine and she teaches at the university and she has a show and she's just Renaissance woman extraordinaire.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, I like her angle because she's also very Pan-African.
Okay.
So she is also heavily involved in social justice movements. And that kind of really sparked it for me. It was kind of like, I don't want to just work in magazines. I don't want to just work, at a TV station. Like, I want to do something more. I wanted to be like Audrey. and
Sure.
and I came out of school.
It's like having a voice, but also having something to say.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
I needed more.
Yes.
I needed more. And so I took off 2 years. I just did some work here and there, some secretarial stuff, just to, make sure I was paying bills until I figured out what I wanted to do. And then I had heard about the New School and was still kind of set on going to Columbia. You talked me out of going to Columbia. We're at Hostos. And the New School was just a better fit for me in terms of their curriculum, in terms of the way that they interact with the students and how things are very interpersonal there. And then the way that they encourage sort of that left of center dialogue.
Sure.
And also in allowing you room to explore. And so I eventually ended up going to the New School for public engagement and got my degree in international affairs. I just graduated in 2012.
Okay.
And as part of that program, I went abroad again.
Okay.
I told myself a long time ago, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to go to South Africa. And when I got there, I saw that they had a field research program in South Africa. And I was like, I'm going.
No second thoughts.
I'm going. And I didn't, and at the time when I went, right before it was time for the applications, I was going through a very kind of like deep transition and wasn't sure that I would even like be able to consider something like that. I was just like, no, my money's not right now. I can't talk about going across the world. I need to figure out life for a minute. And people that I didn't even know were coming up to me like, oh, so you're going to South Africa, right? And I don't know. Why would you say that? I don't know. You just look like you need to go to South Africa. Like literally people I had never met before that just were in the program and saw me. And so I was like, I might need to fill out that application. And I did the application the day before it was due.
Wow.
At like the 11th hour, literally sent it in like 11:30 at night.
Okay. Now you're a graduate student in the New School, and you're working on your master's degree, And as part of that master's degree, there's an internship requirement.
Yeah, a research program.
Research.
Because
requirement.
as part of our degree requirements, we had to do what's called a practicum,
Yes.
either a practicum or a thesis.
Okay.
And so the research that I did in South Africa contributed to my practicum, or at least in laying out my practicum experience and directing that.
So off you go to South Africa.
So off I go. I get accepted into this program at the last minute, and I'm gone. I leave, and I
believe we have a picture of you in South Africa. Can you?
Oh, yes. This is me sitting on the rocks. That mountain range behind me is a part of the Table Mountain range. And this is out in Camps Bay.
What lake is that?
That's a part of the ocean, actually. Yeah, that's a part of the ocean. The ocean comes...
it comes inland like
Yeah, it comes inland like that.
Okay.
And so that's the part of the Indian Ocean, actually, that side.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because Cape Town, the Indian Ocean meets the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the Indian Ocean side, where the water's a little warmer by like 2 degrees.
Oh, okay. South Africa.
It's a beautiful place. That's me on Table Mountain. Not at the top, but at the entrance to the trolley that takes you up on top.
What is behind you?
That's Cape Town, all of Cape Town behind me. So you see the mountain on the one side, and then all of that behind me is Cape Town. So that's all of Cape Town, the lowland area.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's a little dark, but it's a good picture still.
It's a good picture. It gives you a perspective of
Yes.
the size of Cape Town.
And it was also cold.
Okay.
That was-
Now you go to Cape Town,
Mm-hmm.
and this is part of your student experience.
Yes.
Tell me about the setup.
They put us in housing, and it was a bit more open versus the NYU one because we had to find our own way around. So for the first 2 weeks, they say, okay, well, here's this, and then this is where this is. Here's where you'll be working. Have a good summer. And you're kind of on your own.
Okay.
And I preferred that more. I felt more like free to explore in that way because there wasn't so much hand-holding.
Did you know
involved.
anyone in Cape Town?
No, just my fellow classmates
Okay.
and housemates. But it was a good experience. It was a really good experience. I was working at the time with this organization called the Open Democracy Advice Center, and that helped me with my media, bringing media to social justice, because they are an organization that uses media to advocate for whistleblowers.
Okay.
And so what I did, I was their research intern, and I would contact government officials, organizations on their behalf, help set up press releases, all those sorts of things. And we would create media products to help get the word out about these whistleblowers and what it is that they were blowing the whistle on.
Ah.
And so that was really fun. I learned a lot with them, and I still keep in touch with them as well.
Okay. Now you're working in Cape Town.
Yes.
And that has to be a completely different experience from Ghana.
Yes.
Even though it's still Africa, but completely different. This is South Africa. This is the land of apartheid, Mandela, Bishop Tutu, Archbishop Tutu. Tell me about this. How did it feel being?
It felt like you were kind of... Cape Town is a beautiful city.
Yes.
I love Cape Town. I eventually moved back there.
We're going to get to that.
I loved it so much I moved. But it kind of puts you in between both worlds. So if we go out into the townships, which is something that you are confronted with all the time, because the
inequality.
Yeah, the delineation between poverty and wealth is very almost just paper thin. So you would go into these areas, like let's say Camps Bay, where I was, and maybe drive down, and you'll see some area where it looks like you're on Miami Beach. Right, just palm trees and beach and like people sitting out drinking daiquiris and just all of that sort of thing. And you go a few blocks up and there's rows and rows and rows of shacks.
You're right.
And the way that everything is in such close proximity is something I had never seen before.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen anything like it in any of my travels.
It's not 100% a black or white issue. You're looking at income and also class and income, because you have many black South Africans who are extremely well off. Not quite the story, huh?
Not quite the story.
Okay.
Most of the people, the people that you would see typically living in those shacks are black and
That I
brown
know.
people.
No doubt about that.
And when we talk about wealthy blacks in the South African context, that comes a lot from the world-renowned Black Economic Empowerment Plan, which I learned upon arrival failed miserably. To where you have these people who are sort of like here in the U.S., where you have a few people say, well, racism is over. Look at Jay-Z. He made it. We have Oprah. And it's sort of the same sort of thing where it's like, well, look, we have,
Absolutely.
you know, Kenny Kunene. Like, he's made it. And it's like, no, but everyone else around him can't make it because the school system is crap, you know, because infrastructure in the townships is crap. And so there's all these other things, but you have these token people who are lauded as like proof that this plan worked.
It'll take a major investment on the part of South African government to change that around.
An effort that doesn't really exist.
I know.
Which is painful.
Yeah. So, you're there for a summer program.
Yes.
And
a mere 2.5 months.
You're working for a social justice agency. Mm-hmm. And I assume you made a number of friends while you were there.
I did.
Okay. Summer's over. You head back to New York. You're back at the new school. This is your last semester, last year after that?
My last semester. And as soon as I came home, I said, told my family I'm moving to Cape Town.
Did they look at you like you were
absolutely
a little, you know?
They're like, what? I said, I'm gonna move to Cape Town. I was graduating. I'm working on this degree in international affairs, and my idea was like, why not go international? You know, so instead of looking to work, you know, behind a desk here in New York, why not go there to where I'm interested and contribute my services?
But you had no job there.
I had no job. No job, no visa. I just was like...
You had no apartment there.
Just a hope and a dream.
A hope and a dream.
And it worked out.
And a few friends.
And a few friends. Let me tell you, and those connections really helped me because, first of all, I follow a lot of omens and signs. And while I was there, as part of my work with ODAC, we had to produce a separate project, like a hand-in project for the end of this, because it's a semester. We still have to get graded. And so I finagled my way into this lawyers conference.
I love it.
Up in Johannesburg at the University of Witwatersrand, Wits. And I did this presentation on how socioeconomics affects the way that lawyers treat people, even pro bono lawyers. Needless to say, all the pro bono lawyers in there hated me. But I spoke truth. So I remember I was in the cab on the way back to where I was staying, this lodge. And the taxi driver realizes I'm American. He goes, well, what are you doing here? I'm saying, oh, I'm doing this presentation at the university.
This is all part of the internship, right?
Yes.
Okay, right.
So I'm doing this presentation at the university on XYZ. And he stops like mid-traffic, like we're almost at the intersection. I'm scared he's about to get hit by another car coming behind us. And turns around and he's like, you have to come back. And when you come back, bring your people with you because they won't listen to us, but they'll listen to you. And I was like...
That's a pretty powerful statement for a South African to say to a non-South African about South Africans.
Absolutely, because even when I was giving the presentation, I'm getting this extreme pushback from these lawyers in the room who are white. And then you have a few law students who even in the mindset of like not sitting in the front, they go straight to the back. And there were other people who attended the conference who weren't in law, but came to attend the conference because they wanted to be a part of discussions and what have you. And felt the need to go immediately to the back. And so I would purposely call on those in the back because I'm like, I want to hear what you have to say as a Black South African. What is your interaction like with lawyers who come to
Sure.
represent you on cases about land ownership, who whether it's property or whether it's maybe a regular dispute in court or any of that nature. The fact that the Constitution is typically translated in all 11 languages, but only readily available in English,
There's
is a problem.
11 official languages.
Yeah, South Africa has 11 official languages. And they'll tell you, oh, well, we have the Constitution translated and blah, blah, blah. But there's a number of issues with that, because if you translate it into all 11 languages, fine. How do I get a copy of that?
Yeah, I can understand that.
Or even if you translate it, this is still a very technical language.
Sure.
How am I going to understand that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And a lot of these words don't translate into Zulu or Venda or any of these other languages. So how are you making me understand?
These legal concepts are not necessarily part of the language.
And how are you going to make me understand my rights as a citizen so that I'm not just taken for a ride?
Okay.
And the pro bono lawyers hated me. They were just like, we're doing a service, and came up with excuse after excuse. Well, if they just translated the forms in their language, that doesn't matter if I'm not taught
what it means
in my language.
Exactly. Yeah.
If when I go to school, I'm only taught in either English or Afrikaans, if the form is in Venda, that doesn't help me. Because
and
I'm not going to know.
two languages in the educational system.
Yes.
English and Afrikaans.
Right. And so if you put it in another indigenous language, I'm not going to know what this says still, because I don't know how to read and write my own language.
So here you are. You do this internship. Of course, you seem to have made a few enemies and stir up the pot a little.
That's cool.
But then you come back to New York. You graduate and you tell everyone you're going back.
And they all thought I was crazy.
They all thought you were crazy. How'd you get back?
As soon as I came home, I immediately started emailing people. You know, I want to make contact while I'm still fresh in your mind. And was just like, hey, I'm looking for work there. You got any openings? I'll come intern for a little while. Like, anything. I saved up my coins and bought a plane ticket and subletted my apartment. And I graduated in December, or completed all my coursework in December. And I was on a plane January 31st.
Off to
Cape Town. And
I assume you had arrangements with a place to stay.
At first, no.
Okay.
I had set up
love
arrangements.
I love it. My kind of traveling.
I had set up arrangements, and they fell through 2 weeks before I arrived.
Okay.
And I went into panic and prayer mode. And a woman that I was working with while I was at ODAC, she was in another organization that was housed in the same building. I was in touch with her and let her know what happened. And she connected me to the Western Cape Religious Leaders Forum with a gentleman by the name of Father John Oliver, who has since passed on. And he goes, well, there's an opening at the house. You know, she can stay there until, she gets on her feet. And I just paid rent and volunteering.
Okay.
And so that worked out perfectly. So I stayed with them for about 3 months after I got there. And then while I was working with them, because I'm hustling now, as soon as I get there, I have to go into hustle mode, because nothing is worked out. Everyone that I contacted is just like, oh, we'll talk about it when you get here. When you get here. Everything was just when you get here. Because there's this idea, particularly as an American, that because we come from a place of privilege, there's this assumption that
everyone,
that not even everyone, but that there's a larger chance of us flaking, right? So this idea, like, I don't want to invest in this American girl who clearly has like fabulous degrees and anyone might scoop her up, and put all this energy into a visa and that sort of thing, and then she don't come. And case in point of that was the woman whose room I was staying in with the Religious Leaders Forum didn't show for like another 6 months till after I moved out, because she picked up another volunteering gig. And they were waiting for her. They had put in paperwork and everything necessary for her to come, and she didn't show because she decided, oh, I'm going to take this one and then I'll go to South Africa a little later. And that happens all the time.
Sure.
And so I get there, And as part of my hustle, another guy that I had became friends with, he's a community organizer in one of the townships there, Kailicha. He is doing this thing called, it's not a township tour, but he wanted to do kind of like a, not make it so much so it's like voyeuristic. So he did this thing, he purposely got people who were engaged in social justice issues from around the world. So there was like people from the Netherlands on the bus, people from Germany. We had some Ecuadorians on the bus, just very kind of random mishmash. And wanted to take them around and talk about the social justice issues in Cape Town. And he said, well, can you come and, transcribe it? I said, okay, great. How much you paying me? And so we worked out a situation so that I can get some money in my pocket. And while I was there, I met a guy named Jeremy Routledge who helped found Embrace Dignity.
Okay.
And we struck up a conversation. I just was like, yeah, I'm here looking for work, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, send me your resume and, maybe we'll find something for you. And so that was in February, like right after I came. And so I get a call from Nozizwe Matlala Routledge, who is the executive director of Embrace Dignity, like mid-April. I have no idea who this woman is. She's just calling, leaving me a voicemail.
Calling you from South Africa.
Calling me in South Africa.
Okay, in South Africa.
And I'm just like, okay, a job, fine, but what organization is this? Like, it had completely slipped my mind. I hadn't seen this guy since mid-February.
So she offered you a position.
Yeah.
And you took that position.
I did, but I had to like go Google them first because I'm like, who is this? What is this?
I think we have a video on Embrace Dignity. Can we bring that video up, please? Embrace Dignity. Is there a video?
And if there's a picture, that's me.
Oh, this is you as part of the team.
Yes.
In Embrace Dignity. So I guess we won't be watching the video, but that's okay. We'll move on.
But yeah, I came on board. She, offered me a position, starting out sort of like as an intern. And then I recognized that they still had a lot of voids that needed to be filled, and kind of really just stepped up to fill those voids. I was like, well, you have me. You can't hire all these other people. And
So,
I need the work. So let's talk business.
So she hired you full time. Now, Embrace Dignity, from my understanding, is a not-for-profit.
Yes.
And the focus of it is both advocacy and direct service.
Yes.
In terms of dealing with young ladies who are involved in prostitution,
Yes.
sex trafficking.
Yes.
And they do not receive any governmental funding. Am I correct?
No.
Because there is no governmental funding in South Africa for services. Or is there? Or very little?
Very little.
Very little.
Very little. And, well, let me rephrase that. There is plenty of government funding in South Africa for direct services and things of that nature. The way it is dispersed makes it very little.
Okay. Right. We have a picture that I have to show when you were at Embrace Dignity with Bishop Tutu, Archbishop Tutu. Can we bring that picture up?
Yes.
That must have been an amazing experience.
That was an incredible experience. I had went to an event with the Religious Leaders Forum that he was at and couldn't meet him because there was just swarming around him, just everybody. Oh my God, Desmond Tutu's here. And I was like, I'm going to meet that man one day.
Well,
it's
you
okay.
did.
And he ended up coming to my job.
Great.
There was the building that we were housed in at the time, there was a museum exhibition in the same vicinity. And, oh my God, Tutu's coming. And we all ran downstairs to greet him, and he was so nice.
Now,
so nice.
We're running out of time, but I have to get the rest of this story in. So, you meet Bishop Tutu.
Yes.
But also some other things happened in South Africa with you.
I met my husband.
You met your husband, and we have a picture of that up.
Yes, I met my husband. I had actually met him in 2012 when I first went. And we got reacquainted when I came back. And this is actually from our engagement ceremony. Okay. My husband is Congolese, actually. And as part of the Congolese tradition, you have an engagement ceremony where you bring the families together and they negotiate sort of like the dowry
Sure,
sort of
sure.
thing. And so that was at the end of our engagement ceremony when I got my ring finally.
Okay.
And that's us.
That's you guys. And you haven't seen him in a while, person to person.
No, I haven't seen him since I left a couple months ago.
And here's the result of that
And that's
union.
our baby, our beautiful boy Issa. I had him in.
Issa, can you explain that name?
Issa is Arabic for Jesus,
Okay.
and his full name is Issa Kasai.
Issa Kasai.
Yeah, so Issa Kasai.
What a great picture.
Yes, that's my little man.
Now, truly African American. Absolutely. And this saga is only just beginning because I know you guys are going back
Yes,
to South Africa, and so will Issa be going back.
of course.
So there's still chapters to this story to be written.
Plenty.
I wish we had more time, but we did 2 shows, and I'm so happy to have you as a guest on the show because you highlight some of the important things that I think young people need to do. Step outside of the box.
Absolutely.
Have a dream. Go for that dream. Pursue it. Define yourself and don't allow others to define you. And you surely did that.
Yeah, and just trust the process.
There you go.
Trust the process. It'll all work out.
And if it doesn't, you learn from the process.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win experience. I'd like to thank you from the depths of my heart for being on this show. This has been such a great
And thank you for having
time.
me.
Okay. Folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this show. Consider the next time you're thinking about taking a vacation, Africa. It can be more than just a vacation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next second Saturday. That was good.